Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. Like I said in my last video, my movie editor is down and I need to get a new program. So I'm still going to continue on making my videos until I get that program. Even though you'll see me clicking off, starting the video and clicking off the video. But anyway, we're going to keep on continuing, like I said. In this video here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my research based on eyewitness accounts, and I'm going to line up everything. I'm going to show you that my research has been 100%, or at least 95%, I'm going to say 95%, facts on eyewitness accounts and other claims are made and everything else. Okay. Now, a lot of researchers, when they come out with something, they base a lot of research on hearsay or a story or one thing or another, but they have really nothing to show for it. But when I look over my research in the JFK assassination, and I basically, I look at eyewitness accounts and everything else, I start lining this up, everything that I'm finding, everything that I'm pointing out, everything that I'm showing lines up with these stories that's told by eyewitnesses and lines up even with some researchers and stuff. Just like we're going to point this out. Okay, we're going to look at this right here. Okay, now Jim Myers claimed it was a crossfire. Okay. As you see here from the shots I found and everything else, there was a crossfire. Okay, excuse me. Now he has his gunmen in different locations, but as you see here, by photographic evidence, I placed the shots where the gunman was actually at that day. And you see there was a crossfire. So similar, his research does kind of match mine as when it comes to a crossfire happening that day. It did. There was a crossfire, so I can't agree with that. Now, also I want to point out here, as you see, I found 13 shots. Now, some researchers, even Robert Groden, he's claiming there was anywhere from 12 to probably 15 shots fired that day. And it was a Secret Service agent that, I forgot his name, I'm trying to remember his name, Don Abbott, I think it is, Don Abbott. He claimed that there was 11 shots from the evidence that he went over and stuff like that. Okay, which is putting around and around the ballpark figure of what mine is. I got 13, and some of these other people saying there's 11, and from 12 to 15 shots. So see, it's all in the same ballpark figure. Okay, so we're almost close to that one as well. Now, what I want to do is I'm also going to point out some other facts here too. Now we have Bill Lovelady claimed he was the man in the doorway, which everybody thinks it's Oswald, which I wish they would actually get over that, because it was not Oswald. It was actually Bill Lovelady in the doorway. But anyway, not only did Bill Lovelady said that's him in this image right here, okay, but we can also see him in other films and images of him around the doorway there after the assassination and everything else, okay. And we also know that right here, I'm trying to remember his name. Hold on just for a minute. Frazier. Yeah, Frazier, I think. Anyway, this is the guy that drove Oswald to work that morning. Okay, he's the one that said that Bill Lovelady was in front of him, and he was standing right behind Bill Lovelady in the doorway. He also claimed that this man right here is Bill Lovelady. Now we know this could be true because this is him right here. As you see here, the so-called prayer man, okay, that is Frazier. Okay, that is him right here. Okay, Bill Lovelady was standing right here, and he was standing right here. Okay, he was right here. Bill Lovelady is over here now, but he was over here during the time of the assassination because he said Bill Lovelady was in front of him. So see, now we have the eyewitness accounts backing all this stuff up of everything that I'm finding. So they're eyewitness accounts is backing up what I found. Okay, just like when I point out other things about researchers and stuff like that, some of the research is pinpointing what I've found as well. So basically it's almost the same thing. Now we have like the gunman on the grassy knoll. Now I sit there and I said, we have two gunmen in shelter number 3. This is based on photographic evidence. Now let's look at the Newmans. The Newmans claim that the shots came from directly behind them. Okay. Now, if you look at the maps and stuff like that, which I'm going to point up this one right here, this map right here. Now, with the Newmans being in this location here, if you watch my cursor, okay, the Newmans did not say the shots came from the left of them or the right of them, because Texas School Book Depository is on the left side of them. The picket fence area is on the right side of them. They said the shots came from directly behind them. And what was directly behind the Newmans? Shelter number 3. Same as Mr. Zapruder. So Mr. Zapruder always at the beginning said the assassin was right behind him. Okay, it was not until after the Warren Commission report came out when Mr. Zapruder changed the story and says, okay, the shots came from Texas School Book Depository. But at the beginning, Mr. Zapruder did say that the shots came from, the assassin was right behind him. He didn't say it was to the left of him, and he didn't say it was to the right of him. He says that it was right behind me. Okay, again, this fits what I found. Okay, now we're going to look at the people on the overpass. They said they seen the smoke trail right in this location right here. Okay, they claimed it was coming from the picket fence area, but when you look at it from this angle here, we see the picket fence area. Remember, there's trees and stuff here. Them shots came from shelter number 3, because shelter number 3 is right on the other side of that picket fence area. So from this location, it would look like the smoke trail stuff is coming from the picket fence, but it really wasn't. It was coming from the shelter number 3, which just also fits into what I found. Okay, just like we're going to look at some of the claims that was made. Okay, like Senator Yarborough, he claimed that when they got into this location right here, he started smelling gun residue. Okay, again, that with the wind blowing and everything else, he's going to run right into that, because right here is shelter number 3. Now, if the shot came from behind the picket fence area, he would have smelled it over in this location right here, because like I said, the wind is blowing. He would have smelled in this location right here. But he said they drove right into it, and he smelled it right in this location right here. Same as a lot of other eyewitnesses claim they smelled that gunpowder residue right in this location right here. That gunpowder smell was right in this location here, not down here. It wasn't later on till after the assassination was and JFK's limo was gone and everything else, is when they start smelling it in this location right here, way after the fact. Because, like I said, the wind is blowing. But during the time of the assassination, they claimed that smell was right in this location here, which would come from shelter number 3, which also fits my research as well. Okay, like this image right here. We see the smoke right here in this image here. Now, a lot of research says, well, this has come from the picket fence area. No, think about this. Okay, think about this. When we look at the smoke right here, in this location here, okay, what's below that? There is the Newmans right there. Here's Alt Gin right here. We have the Newmans right here. That smoke is right above the Newman's head. Okay, it's not over by the picket fence area, because remember, the picket fence area is way over here. Okay, this smoke is right above the Newmans. Okay, that's where that smoke is at. And where was the Newmans at? Well, we're going to show you right here. The Newmans was right here. That smoke was right above their heads right here in this location here, which I'm going to zoom in. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. Watch my cursor. That smoke was right here. It was not over here by the fence area. That smoke was right in this location here. It was right above the Newman's head, because we seen them laying on the ground here. That was right above their heads. That's right where shelter number 3 is. Okay, everything that we see in eyewitness accounts and everything else does match the research that I've found and the things I've done. Just like if you look at, people says, if we look at the reports and stuff, they said, like the people that worked inside Texas School Book Depository, they said they left Oswald on the 6th floor that day at 12 o'clock. They all went down there, but Oswald said, send the elevator up to me. Okay, we see Oswald in this image right here, in the Dillard image. We see Oswald looking out. So we know he was on the 6th floor. Now, they said they send the elevator back up to Oswald. When they came to the lunchroom on the 2nd floor, they send the elevator back up to Oswald. Okay, but the elevator was found on the 2nd floor after the assassination. So this will be Oswald's route. So see, everything that I'm pinpointing, everything I'm finding, and the information I'm coming up with and everything else does match eyewitness accounts. And what they put in their statements. Okay. Let's look at the distance now. Okay. I'm going to pull this one up, and I'm going to pull up another thing here. Right here. Okay. Let's pull this up and this up. Okay. We're going to pull both these up at the same time. Now, the reason why I'm pulling both these up at the same time is I want to go into a little bit more details. Okay. Now, remember, other things I'm going to point out, it also matches my research as well. Now, Governor Connally said he was shot in the back by 2 shots. He heard 2 shots that day. Okay. He heard 2 shots, and he was hit by the second shot. Well, the only shots he heard, which was the 2 shots, was fired from shelter number 3. The fatal headshot, and then the shot to Governor Connally. Excuse me. I need to take a drink. That's the only 2 shots that he heard. Okay. Now, remember, when we watch the Zapruder film, frame 313, JFK was shot. Then frame 2, as I point out, frame 330 of the Zapruder film, Governor Connally was shot in the back as he was turning to his left. Because when we watch this Zapruder film, he says he was looking off to his right. And it wasn't until after he heard the first shot, he starts turning around to his left, and then he heard the second shot, and then he felt the blow on his back, and then he falls over into his wife's lap. Again, this is proven by the Zapruder film. But remember, when we watch the Zapruder film, he was looking out always out to his right. And it wasn't until frame 315 of the Zapruder film, which is after the fatal headshot, he starts turning over to his left. Then when in frame 330 of the Zapruder film, which I'll point out in my show, we can see the impact of the bullet entering Governor Connally's back. Then he goes over into his wife's lap. Okay, he claimed he only heard 2 shots that day, which we can understand why he only heard 2 shots, because that'd be shot number 4 and shot number 6. And the reason why I said shot number 6 is because there was another shot fired at the same time. Okay, but anyway, we see these 2 shots here, and it was only 71.70 feet or 22.90 yards, or 91.55 feet or 30.52 yards. Okay, they was close range to them. So that's the only 2 shots you can hear, because remember, you got people cheering, you got police sirens going off and everything else. So only 2 shots he can actually hear is what's at ground level. So when he took these shots here, when he had 2 shots taken here, he was hit by a second shot. Same as James Tagg standing over here by the curb. He said he heard the first shot, and then when he heard the second shot, that's when he felt the blow on the side of his face because that bullet struck the curb. Okay. Well, he didn't hear that. The only 2 shots he heard was the ones coming from shelter number 3. The shot that struck that curb where he was standing was actually fired at the same time as the second shot from the shelter was fired. That was fired from the text from the rooftop of the county records building. Okay, that was the beginning of the distraction shots, because there was a shot fired from shelter number 3, and he was getting ready to start shooting his distraction shots to get people start running. So he himself said he only heard 2 shots as well, which again is only at ground level. Okay. Now, people over here and then other people over in this location stuff, they said they heard firecrackers. Well, this is easy to explain. The firecrackers that they heard was actually not firecrackers, it was actually other shots being fired. And that's when the other shots was fired up here. The shot to JFK's back, the bullet extra throat, the other shot to the back of JFK's head, the shot to Governor Connally's stuff. These are the firecrackers they've been hearing. Plus the shots to the manhole cover and everything else. Because people don't understand that, okay, we have Oswald on the 6th floor and he's on the inside. Okay, he's on the inside of the building. So any shots that he's firing is going to sound like firecrackers, because most of that sound is going to be on the inside of the building. Same as the gunman on the 2nd floor of the county records building. He's taking his shots from inside the building, which is above the crowds. Okay, he's taking his shots as inside the building. So most of the echo is going to be inside the building and not on the outside. The outside is going to sound like firecrackers. And then we have the gunman on the rooftop of the county records building. Again, his shots are going to sound like firecrackers because he's way above the crowds and everything else. So everything that I found and that I claimed and that I said about the JFK assassination, I'm going to go 95%. I'm not going to say 100%. I'm going to say, 95% fits eyewitness accounts, the stories that I've told, everything that's said, it matches everything that I found. Other researchers, okay, they're still working on that 15 to 20%, because most of the research they're still basing it on is either claims or what they've been told by eyewitnesses or one thing or another. My research has 95%, okay, of being accurate to everything that occurred that day. That's why they contacted me. That's why the one eyewitness contacted me, because I'm going to find the answers. And that's the reason why I'm making this video here, to let everybody know that, you know, when you do research, okay, if it doesn't line up, okay, just like me when I do my research here, not only do I, you know, find the evidence, but also look for, you know, eyewitness accounts and stuff like that, okay, just make sure everything fits in line, just like when I found the shot to Governor Connally. Okay, Governor Connally said he was shot by the second shot. Well, we can understand that now because he can only hear 2 shots because they was fired at close range to him. Okay, and that was a shot from the shelter number 3 behind Mr. Zapruder. Now, he also, we watched the Zapruder film, or we watched an Oral Nix film or anything else, but even the Zapruder film, he said he was looking out to his right. And then when he was turning over to his left, that's when he heard the second shot. And then that's when he felt the blow in his back. Again, this can be proven. His story can be proven by the Zapruder film, because the Zapruder film, we see him looking off to his right. Then after the fatal headshot to JFK, which is shot number 1 that he heard, he starts turning around by frame 315 of the Zapruder film. He starts turning around to his left, as he claimed, and he was shot in the back of frame 330 of the Zapruder film, which we can see that blow into Governor Connally's back, and we can see him going over into his wife's lap. So see, his account matches what we see. Other accounts that I've been pointing out also matches everything that we see in these films and these images. That's why I keep on telling everybody that no films is altered, no images is altered in any way, because what eyewitnesses are telling us and what's in reports and what's in the documents matches a lot of everything that I found. Just like researchers will say, there was a crossfire. Yeah, there was a crossfire. Okay, I will agree to that. There was a crossfire. They just placed their gun in different locations and they're placing their shots differently. Some researchers, before I came out, okay, they're only claiming about 3 to 5 shots being taken that day. When I come out and start showing my evidence of 13 shots being fired, now we have researchers changing the story to where there's 12 to 15 shots fired. Okay, we have to look at all of this. Okay, and we have to understand that there's a lot more to the JFK assassination than anybody can ever possibly imagine. But when you want to make a claim about something, okay, you have to make sure that when you make that claim, you have the evidence to back it up. You have eyewitness accounts to also back up that evidence that you got. That will hold solid into a court of law. If you go in there and you say, this eyewitness says here that a shot came from the picket fence area. Well, do you have any proof that shots came from that picket fence area? No, we don't have no proof. Well, then you can't have that in a court of law. You can't. They're not going to use that. Okay. But if you go in there and said this eyewitness has said that the shot came from directly behind, what's directly behind shelter number 3? Now we have images of and films of 2 gunmen taking shots from shelter number 3. We have them holding rifles, we have them aiming rifles, we have them firing rifles from shelter number 3. We have eyewitness account claiming the shot came from directly behind and what was directly behind shelter number 3. So now we not only have photographic evidence, but we have an eyewitness account that backs that up. Okay, now we have the evidence that you go in a court of law and you can use this, and this can be used against them. Okay, but when you're just going in there and just say a false claim saying, hey, those shot came from here, where's your evidence at? Okay, just like the video I made before this, I made about the windshield, JFK's limo. Okay, they claimed that was a frontal shot. It was shot through the windshield and struck JFK in the throat, which I pointed out in that video. Okay, if you watched, if you didn't see that video yet, I would, if I was you, I would go take a look at it. That shot did not occur. You had to pinpoint when that shot occurred to find out exactly when that windshield was damaged. Okay, and that's what I did. I did not make the claim. I did not take the image and say, here it is, this is what happened. No, I went ahead and did my investigation first to find out exactly and pinpoint exactly when that windshield was damaged, and then put it all together and then end up lining up eyewitness accounts and everything else and line it all up to make sure exactly everything fits, and it does. All my research fits everything that's been actually more or less talked about. not, Oswald. I point out the false claims are made. I'm going to show evidence about them false claims are made. I'm showing evidence on exactly what took place that day. And I'm also using eyewitness accounts and all, backing up everything I found. 95% of my research, okay, I'm not going to say 100%, because any researcher wants to go say 100%, they got to be out of their tree, okay? Because there's always that 5% gap you have to always look at. You have to have a 5% gap to look at in case something else comes up eventually, okay? If you get more evidence comes out. But 95% of my research right now matches everything that took place that day, by eyewitness accounts, by everything that any angle you want to look at. Everything that I found matches. Okay, I wanted to make this video to point out some more information on, when you're doing research, you have to pinpoint certain things and make sure it all lines up. You have to make sure that there's eyewitness accounts that actually backs it up and stuff. Then that's what I did. I did my research. After I did my research, I did the investigation, and after the investigation, I started piecing it all together, and that's how I know what actually happened that day. Just like when I did the distance. Before I can even do the distance, which no other researcher has this, and they don't have a time frame, but you have to know the exact locations, and you got to know exactly where these shots made contact with, so you can have a diagram to go by, so you know a distance that you can measure out. Now you have the gunman's location, the shot he took, and you pinpoint where that shot made contact. Then you can measure from that distance to that distance, and we get a true distance. That's why we have distance now in JFK assassination, which you're not going to find nowhere else. You're only going to find in my research. You're going to find time frames on when the shots was taken, where the shots came from, where the shots made contact with, and you're going to know the distance between each one of these shots, as you see here. Okay, you're only going to find that in my research here. Okay, and you're only going to find this research in my book, Evidence of a Conspiracy. In my other books, you're going to see some of this information, but Evidence of a Conspiracy shows my complete research into the JFK assassination. It has everything in there. But like I said, you have to pinpoint exactly when things happen. Then you got to make sure you have eyewitness accounts back up. So everything that I found is backed up by eyewitness accounts, and by, some things matches some researchers to a point. Okay, to a point. Like Jim Myers said there was a crossfire. I have to agree with that. There was a crossfire, because by the shots I've found and the location of the gunman and all 13 shots being fired, there was a crossfire. Okay, there was exactly a crossfire. So he was right about that. Now, the locations he placed his gunman, it does not, we cannot agree on that. We're never going to be able to agree on that. Okay, just like these other researchers. Okay, there's 13 shots, where those other researchers says now they say there's 12 to 15 shots fired. Okay, they want to go around that 13. Okay, but anyway, I wanted to make this video here to let everybody know and give more information out. My research is actually backed 95% by eyewitness accounts as well, of photographic evidence. So now we have the eyewitness accounts and we have the photographic evidence. If you want to know more, you'll go through my other videos. You'll find out more information and stuff. If you want to go through my whole research and stuff like that, I advise you to go out and buy Evidence of a Conspiracy, which is on Amazon, which I'll leave a link down below in the description. I'll leave a site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracy, whether on paperback or Kindle. And during the month of December, which was last month of November, and then December this month, all book sales are going to go into my GoFundMe account for to make this documentary on JFK, The Quest for Answers, because that documentary actually has to be made. If we want to know the truth, if we want to finally get the story straight, we finally want to get the evidence all compelled into one location. We all want to make sure that we have everything in one documentary, so you can look over and you can be the judge if you want to. And we're going to cover every base, so this information can actually be put down and recorded for future researchers as well. But I want to thank you. Don't forget the like button. Don't forget the subscribe button. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Share this video and stuff. And again, I want to apologize for not cutting the first part of the video off and the end part of the video where it shows me clicking on and off. But like I said, my movie editor, is messed up, and I have to get another copy so I can re-download it and everything else. But y'all have a pleasant day and happy holidays from the Blevins. Thank you.